Hi everybody, this is Alex at Ballade Sports. Have you ever wanted to have spoon calipers in the rear of your S2000? Because I have always wanted this as well. Actually, I just always wanted to have a 4-piston caliper in the back so I can match in the front. And we've done that now. We've been able to make this happen by making a kit with a 2-piece rotor, a modified bracket, and this bracket right here is how we make it all happen. What we do is this bolts onto the back where the original factory caliper position was to the knuckle. Then this extends the factory caliper, which we're only using for an e-brake only now. And then our mounting points are now over here for a caliper. So this is what it looks like on the back side. You see how this bracket is holding our spoon caliper, and it goes all the way over here, and the stock caliper is bolted to this bracket as well, and this is holding on the knuckle for the stock caliper. So it's a big circle the way the bracket looks like, as you saw earlier. Now this rotor right here is a 2-piece 330 millimeter rotor, vented. The brake pads we do have to cut down by about 5 millimeters because it's just going to be used for parking brake only now, because we had to compensate for the distance. This is a 22 millimeter rotor disc. The downside is a little bit of pad overhang, but not a whole lot where it's going to impede on anything, and you can run it safely. If you want to modify your brake pads, and you can cut the brake pad ears down to get this a little bit more flush. But because this caliper was never meant to handle a 13-inch rotor or 330 millimeter rotor, it was meant for only 300 millimeter rotor, which is 12-inch. In addition to the spoon caliper, you can also run the stock caliper. It's kind of a little bit more ugly. I'm not sure why anybody would want to, but this is what I'm trying to express, how versatile this rear brake kit is. You can run the stock rear caliper. What we did was we just cut off this little bar right here, because what it does, it ends up touching and impeding on our aluminum hub here. But you can see it fits just as well. Again, just like the spoon caliper, these ones were not meant to be on a 13-inch rotor, so a little bit of pad overhang, but nothing that's going to really hurt the performance, in the sense where you have a larger diameter rotor, you're going to have more leverage, more braking power. This is our twin block caliper that also fits this setup. And this is, to be honest, the real reason why we invented this setup, was to fit our caliper on here. And it turned out, because of the dimensions were all similar to the spoon monoblock and the stock caliper, we're able to fit 3 different calipers on this rotor setup. The benefits of this caliper over a stock caliper would be the fact that the stock caliper uses stock S2000 brake pads, and we use Integra Type R brake pad or NSX brake pad, and it's about 25% larger surface area. See right here, a lot bigger brake pad. Of course, we didn't forget the front. The front, we also offer a 330 millimeter, 25 millimeter thickness vented rotor, 2-piece, to be able to handle the spoon caliper and stock caliper and our Ballade Sports twin block caliper. So this is a setup so you can have both front and rear 4-piston calipers. The way we're able to do that is simple. This bracket that looks kind of like the shape of a bone, a dog bone, it bolts to here. This bolts to the back of the knuckle, extends out our caliper, so we can fit it into a larger rotor. This is what it looks like in the front. The rear bracket connecting the caliper and extending it out so we can run our bigger rotor here. So this is the final result, guys. I know these aren't the spoon calipers on here, but they are my twin block calipers. Going back to the rear. Stock caliper for e-brake function only. Let me show you that. Locks it in place. The front. "13" rotor in the front and back. 25mm thickness in the front and a 22mm thickness in the rear, vented. So this is the way I kind of always imagined an S2000 Type R would be, front and rear calipers. So guys, to make things even more dramatic and just way cooler, my concept of what a S2000 Type R should be, I think the S2000 should have carbon ceramic rotors. Just like on the NSX, carbon rotors. These things are so lightweight. They're 8 pounds each. Each one of them, this is about 40% lighter than the steel rotors. And these are already lighter, pretty light because they're 2-piece with aluminum hats. This one's like, whoa, these are super light, 8 pounds. And we're gonna stick these on this car. The whole idea is to set this car up with all of our product line. And it's not something you need, it's overly expensive, but at the same time, this is just something that I really wanted, just like the way the Acura NSX has carbon rotors, this S2000 Type R concept should follow in that suit. This is like the craziest thing to ever do. You know, I don't suggest anybody ever do this. I just wanted to do this in general. I'm not gonna keep these spoon calipers on here. I just wanted to show you that I could leave these calipers on here. We could run them with our big rotor kit, which I showed earlier in the video. I am going to be running our twin block calipers. So let me do a close-up on this rotor here. This has floating hardware right here. That's good for knockback. And then look at these carbon discs, man. These are cool. A lot of people never get to see this stuff, so this is one way for us to share. And this is the spoon caliper. We did have to modify the bracket a little bit. Let me show you, hold on. So this is our bracket that we have. And so the spoon caliper has a little bit of casting right here that blocks our bracket. So it took about like 15 minutes to just grind down the material, and then we can fit this bracket on. So it's the only way we could do it to get this onto a 13-inch disc. This right here is the real caliper that we are going to be using. This is our twin block, and just bolted up to the back right here. This is the first time I have ever ran carbon rotors on anything, and it was quite a learning experience because, one, what brake pads do you use? It's really hard to figure out brake pads for carbon ceramic rotors. What we found out is, after looking online, reading, and going through, there's various companies make carbon ceramic brake pads. Endless makes a brake pad. The model numbers like W007 and W008 for endless carbon ceramic brake pads, and Ballade makes a carbon ceramic brake pad. But you know, I called some brake pad companies locally to us, and man, it would take like forever to get brake pads because, one, we use an Integra Type R DC2 brake pad shape. I guarantee no Integra has run carbon rotors in the last 10 years or something like that. No way would I ever find a pad that's going to be available in a timely manner. So what I ended up having to do is, luckily, Acura makes carbon ceramic rotors for Acura NSX. So I bought a gigantic brake pad from Acura. Well, this is an aftermarket brand, but it is an Acura NSX, the NC1 brake pad. And look how big it is compared to the DC2. This is the brake pad shape that we had to manually cut with a die grinder and a chop saw, and to get our pad shape. The bottom is pretty close, and then we have to cut out all this material. It's pretty crazy, just so we can have our brake pad go right in there. So now that we put on carbon rotors on our S2000, and we have dual 4-piston calipers in the front and the rear, what does the brake pedal feel like? What does the brakes feel like? Well, we did a couple things, right? We did the carbon rotors. That's going to change the way the brakes are going to feel. And then we also have the 4-piston calipers on the front and the back. So we're driving. Now we're going to figure out, make sure we can stop. Everything feels good right now. So I'm kind of on the road right here. Are you guys ready? We're about 75 miles an hour. Whoa, here we go. There we go. Ooh, full stop. I wish I could record the distances. Maybe another video will do show the distance, versus one car to another versus like a stock car. But the brakes feel really good. The stopping power is right there. Definitely gives us stopping power. The biggest question I think everybody's going to ask, like, what is proportioning. Everybody always asks that about when you do rear brake upgrades. How's the proportioning of the brakes feel? Well, it feels really good right now. Like the car doesn't nosedive as heavy as I remember when we drive a stock S2000. To be honest, a stock S2000, the rotors are so small. Almost now, when you get back into a stock S2000 versus one with a big upgrade, big brake upgrade, you feel like the car doesn't want to stop. And originally the S2000 was known for good stopping power. So that's how much more this kind of upgrade really helps. The brake pedal does feel a little, I wouldn't say softer, but there's definitely more travel in the brake pedal. So the stock S2000 and even the 06 Plus S2000 feels even harder. The moment you touch the brakes, the brake pedal, it's hard like immediately. So you have like a smaller window of travel before you go from zero brakes to 100% brake pressure. So it makes sense because we put a big caliper in the back that now the master cylinder is not, it hasn't gotten any bigger. It's pushing more hydraulic fluid to the back and the front, so the brake pedal has essentially more travel. It's not that the brake pedal got softer. It's just you just have to push down deeper to get to that 100% braking pressure. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. So, is it something that you kind of want to get used to or have to get used to? A little bit, like at first it feels like, where your brain is kind of initially thinking that you press this much pressure and the car's going to start biting, the brakes are going to start biting, but you just train yourself a little bit differently. It's going to be a little deeper, and then it drives perfectly fine.
Just like aftermarket clutches. They change the engagement point sometimes. You just have to relearn the clutch as well.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, that's true. You do learn the engagement points different. Yeah, it's just, this is part of modding. This is part of modding where when we change stuff, one thing changes another, and there's a ripple effect.
You could see how I wasn't really prepared 100% for it, and almost smacked the camera with my face.
These carbon rotors, did we need to do carbon rotors? No, we didn't. It was just cool.
Yeah.
I just always wanted it. And it's, great attention grabber. I'm not going to go full brake, but I'm going to brake pretty hard right now, babe. Good? Yeah, feel good?
I like how the big brakes also don't wig out the ABS.
Yeah, the ABS definitely kicks on later. Obviously because it's got much more stopping power. So you don't, like on a stock S2000, you just smash it, ABS kicks on right away.
Yeah.
You know? This one's much less. Okay, I'm gonna brake real hard.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah. You wanna try it again? Watch. I'm gonna go
50.
50.
Nice. But honestly, with that whole pedal situation, you get used to it right away. I mean, I came from my S2000 and drove this one, and 2 minutes into it, I already forgot about the travel. It's
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like it's in your head.
yeah, for sure.
I don't sit there and think about it at all really right now. Just stop.
Yeah.
Just like boom. The stock fronts are 12-inch and the vented, and the stock rears are 11-inch solid disc. We went now to vented front, vented rear, 13-inch front, 13-inch rear. It's like a torque wrench. The longer the torque wrench, the more leverage you have. So same thing when the brake caliper is farther away, because the rotor is taller. It brakes and it has more leverage to stop the car, which is what we want. Increase stopping power. This feels good. This feels good. I like it. I think we're good. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I appreciate you checking out our video and going through this whole upgrade and modification of our cars. And I hope you like what we're all about and what we've been trying to do for this old platform.